Hi everyone. So my name is Sarah
And I'm Claudia.
and we are your 2020 trip coordinators for TeamMED Nepal. So it's great to meet you all via this online web space. So we are part of TeamMED. TeamMED is a student-run organisation from Monash University. It was established in 2009, so we've been running for well over a decade now. And essentially TeamMED allows med students to go overseas and get involved in global health projects. So it allows us to address and support and supplement the resources of local communities and to address their healthcare needs.
Now, a little bit about the organisation which we work with in Nepal. So it is called the Himalayan Guge organisation, I believe. And so our trip to Nepal has involved this partnership between TeamMED and the HGO for almost a decade as well. It's been a long-standing relationship with Tashi, who is our contact in Nepal. So their primary purpose is to promote health-related educational, cultural and community interventions to the Himalayan regions of Nepal. Their close ties to the community and focus on providing healthcare means that they can support us in providing an ethically and culturally sensitive medical clinic, focusing on the particular needs of the community we visit. And I think working with the organisation really makes it an extra special trip and is a great way to learn a lot about Nepalese culture and learn a bit more about the healthcare system in Nepal.
Objectives of the Nepal trip. So why choose Nepal? Essentially, Nepal is quite an underdeveloped country and they have many issues with poverty, education and healthcare. There's a lot of under-resourced systems in Nepal, specifically the healthcare. Many of the doctors work in Kathmandu, and so access for people in rural communities is significantly limited because of this, and then also because of the topography of the land. So TeamMED aims to provide medical care and advice to those who would otherwise struggle to make the significant journey all the way to Kathmandu. Some of the patients we saw had never seen a doctor or a dentist in their entire lives. Some statistics which are important to note if you are going to Nepal is the Human Development Index is 0.579, the literacy rate is 59.6%, and the infant mortality rate per 1,000 births is 27.8, which is almost 9 times what it is in Australia.
Now a little bit about our trip itinerary. So the Nepal trip, the TeamMED trip itself is 14 days in length in early December. That's when we went last year. And a lot of us did our own travel either side. So we went over a few days early and did some extra travel and then also stayed a little bit later at the end, which most people did. And it was nice to kind of spend that time with some other people in the group to travel Nepal together and get to know each other. So then for the actual official trip, day one is when we all meet up in Kathmandu at quite a nice hotel, and we meet Tashi and we meet some of his other HGO employees. And so on this day, we take up all the medications that we'd purchased that Tashi had bought for us in country in Nepal, and also the things that we'd brought over with us. Day 2 is a 11-hour bus ride to the town of Saleri. So it's obviously quite a long day, but it's a very scenic bus ride. And Saleri was the kind of town, it was a close town to the village we were going to that was still connected by road. And we stayed in a nice tea house there. Days 3 to 7 was when we set off on our trek. So this was a real highlight, I think, for a lot of people, hiking in the Himalayas, obviously some really stunning views, some amazing cooking by the staff. And we got to about 4,000 meters at one point. So it's, strenuous hike as well, but it's really enjoyable. Days 8 to 12, so we arrive in Bakanji, set up our camp, and then we do our health clinic, so 4 days of a health clinic, which we'll get to in a second. And then day 13, we hike kind of back down to another village, which is again connected to the road. And the final day was a very long bus ride back to Kathmandu and a sad farewell. And then on our the morning that everyone was leaving, we did a bit of a ceremony to say goodbye and thank you. And that's the trip summary.
Lovely. Just want to say sorry everyone if the internet there was a bit weird. I hope it was just for me and doesn't appear on your screens, but apologies if it does. So as Claudia noted, you do an 11-hour bus trip on the second day from Kathmandu to a town called Saleri. So Kathmandu is in the red rectangle and Saleri is the star. Then we have Bangkanji where we actually stay in the pinpoint on the map. So this really emphasizes the rural location of where you are going. And yeah, it's important to note that you are camping in tents the whole time. So you have to be someone who's willing to do that. A little bit about Bangkanji, so where we're actually going. So it's located at an altitude of 2,800 meters. The people in the local community are very vibrant. They're beautiful. They will invite you to go and have tea with them. They'll come and visit your camp. They are really, really great people. And the people from the Himalayan Guge organization that you actually travel with, they're amazing as well. They help you out so much. And then in terms of where the clinic is, it's just located up as quite a steep hill, but it's only about 5 minutes away from where you are camping.
And we were all able to have one shower.
Yes, a nice cold shower, but it was a shower nonetheless. So baby wipes will be your best friend.
All right, a bit about the clinic days. So obviously this is the main kind of focus of the trip. So we do 4 full days of clinic from about 9 a.m. till 5 p.m, sometimes a little bit later, depending on how many patients we had to see. And we had a break in the middle for lunch. We attended to about 450 patients over the 4 days, which is quite a lot of patients when you think about it. The setup of our clinic was we had 4 different consulting rooms, and in each room we had typically 2 medical students, often like a second or a third year with a 4th year, as well as one of our volunteer nurses. So we had 4 volunteer nurses from Kathmandu who helped with the clinic and also did all the translating. They were really amazing at translating for us. And then we had one doctor who we'd go out and kind of present the case to the doctor and develop a management plan in conjunction with him. We also had a pharmacy, so we'd have 2 or 3 med students running the pharmacy for the clinic session, and we provided all medications free of charge to the patients. So we purchased about $5,000 worth of medications and gave most of them out. And then we also had a health promotion group. So the focus was placed on delivering information in a fun and informative way, especially to the kids. And this was done out where everyone was waiting to be seen in the clinic. So we'd kind of get a group of people and we'd run through, we had some songs, we had some all translated into the local language, focus on brushing teeth. So we also bought a whole bunch of biodegradable toothbrushes and toothpaste to give out. Focusing on dental hygiene, we talked about hand washing, and we also took everyone's blood pressure while they were waiting. Yeah.
So these are just some photos of the health promotion activities that we did. So in the top left, you can see one of the team members from last year, Sam. He's just interacting with the kids and reading sort of instructions about how to wash your hands. So as Claudia mentioned, this is all being translated into Nepali. In the photo below that, you can see the actual health post where you're working. And then on the top right, another photo of the health post, and then below that is an example of the terrain of where you'll do some of your trekking as well. Let me move this back over here. So this is one of the clinic rooms. So there's Claudia and Sam again, working as a great team. It looks like they're explaining a medication. You can see the lady who is pointing at the medication bottle. She is one of the Nepalese nurses who has volunteered their time to come with us and to help translate in all the different clinic rooms. And then there are also the 2 patients in the room. And then again, just some examples. So you will be interviewing patients and examining them yourself. So it's important that you sort of brush up on your skills before you go, or it's a great opportunity to learn more skills while you're there. So there's just a chest examination on the left, and then on the right, just looking in the baby's ear. And then these are just examples of the queues to come into the clinic. So a lot of the patients who do come will trek from far away. They may start trekking early in the morning and not arrive till about 4 p.m. So this is really one of the only opportunities that they do have to receive healthcare, which is why it's so important for us to offer that service to them.
Now, a little bit about the trip outcomes. So I think we've been going to Nepal for 9-10 years or something, and we've had quite significant success in the past. Our trip was actually the first time going to the Kanji, so it was a new village, and hopefully, in the future we can kind of continue to develop that relationship. But in the past, they've visited a few different villages, including Bigu, Dolakar, and Solavan, which are all in the kind of Solakumbu region, treating thousands of patients. And in Bigu, they managed to actually establish a permanent healthcare post with a lot of, year after year TeamMED funding. So that's, obviously a really amazing outcome. And it would be great to see what else we can do in the future, cementing relationships year after year. And obviously, it's a really great opportunity for students to contribute to global health and for us to learn a bit about it. You don't really get much exposure during the classic med course. So it's a really great opportunity for that.
So funding. The trip is entirely self-funded, so all students, you have to pay for your own flights, your own accommodation, food and supplies. And from memory, that was about 1,400 Australian dollars. And then you also then have to raise money throughout the year that will go towards purchasing medical supplies, medications, hiring a doctor, and supporting the Himalayan Guge organisation. So last year we raised over $12,000, and we hope to mirror that in future years. And so how do you raise all of this money? Local fundraising. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the traditional bake sales, sausage sizzles, trivia nights that med kids love to do. We also got most of our money, I would say, from Rotary and Lion clubs. They love to be involved in global health projects. So they are, if you approach them and are willing to go and give them a bit of an information night and a PowerPoint, they are often quite willing to contribute in some form. We also sometimes get contributions from other corporations or organizations like medical insurance companies. And then we partner with other non-for-profits. So last year we partnered with Donations in Kind, and they are an organization that recycle medical equipment, so stuff from hospitals that would otherwise be thrown out but could be reused. They help to provide that to overseas projects. We also were quite fortunate last year. A lot of our family and friends were happy to donate, and I think that really helped and made a difference as well.
I thought I'd just clarify on the funding. So in terms of the trip itself cost about $1,400. Flights are separate. From memory, mine were about $1,100, I think.
Yeah,
I think they'll still be quite cheap at the end of this year. And Nepal itself is a very cheap country to travel in. So doing your extra travel really doesn't actually come to very much more money, and you can do a lot of cool things for not very much money, which is great.
Yes, good clarification, Claude. Important.
And then finally, a quick note on COVID-19, obviously a very hot topic. So before we conclude, we thought we'd just take this time to address the coronavirus. And obviously, this is quite unprecedented, and we're all living in a time of quite a bit of uncertainty. At this stage, we would love to think that the Nepal trip will still be running in December. And Sarah was in contact with Tashi from the HGO this morning, and he's still really keen for it to go ahead. And he's thinks that it should still go ahead. Obviously, unfortunately, we can't predict what will be happening 9 months from now, or how the government will respond, or how we as a committee will respond. But applications are definitely still open, and it's important that you register your interest so that we can consider you as an applicant. And obviously, flights would be much later down the track, that kind of thing. So yeah, if you're interested, definitely still apply, get in contact with us.
Cool. So that's it from us. Thanks for coming and tuning into our Zoom meeting. If you do have any other questions, there's a link to a Google form just there. And essentially this Thursday night, we'll be holding another Zoom meeting where we will be answering all the frequently asked questions, and any other questions that you have, just put them in the chat and we'll answer them as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We hope to see you this Thursday and potentially in the interviews. That's all from us.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.